welcome to Out of the Park 25 release day. I'm recording this in the evening, Eastern time in the United States of release day. March 15th, right? And hope to get this out into the world onto YouTube soon. Same as this evening, same evening I'm recording it, but just for the context there. So, first off, it's a big day, so thanks to the whole Out of the Park team. It's if you think about it, it's really cool that they've created this game and stayed dedicated to this game that allows me to just play out my dream job of being a general manager of a sports team. And just the amount of realism for a computer game is incredible. And sometimes I think it's just good to pause and recognize that and appreciate all the work and dedication that goes into it. And I think release day is a great time to do that. So just wanted to say thank you to the whole team and congratulations. And, also thank you to Marcus and the team. I don't know if you followed online today, maybe not. But keeping everyone updated on the issues with the Steam release. I thought the communication was great. The community was pretty nice too in reaction. I try to avoid online reactions to things, kind of just as a principle for my own personal health. But I was following along on the forums today to see what was going on with the release. And the majority of people were cool and kind and understanding and, good job Out of the Park community. Some of y'all still need to get a grip, but a big win, I thought. So what am I going to do tonight? What am I going to do? I am going to just take a spin through the game, looking at some things. I'm going to look a bit more at one of the player development focuses, the new this is not the player development lab that I'm going to look at tonight, but I will have a video on that soon. This is more like the passive player development focus that's added to the game that I'll pull up in a second on a page. But if you don't go to the Out of the Park forums, I suggest going to the forums, and I'll try to remember to put the link in the description, to look at Will, one of the developers for Out of the Park. He had a great write-up on the new player development additions to the game this year. Great explanations. I don't expect that Will would watch these videos, but, if you know Will and you watch this, tell him he is great and he is loved for many things, including that post that he put up today that was just great practical information and tips for how to handle the new development features in the game. And I do want to say before I get into that, I'm just letting you study Gunnar Henderson's page here. My favorite player, probably one of them. I apologize if my voice is a little raspy. I'll try not to cough in your ear, try not to sip tea in your ear too much. Still fighting a cold. For those of you who watched my video from last night know that. Some people are saying that me fighting through this cold I have to record Out of the Park content is the greatest sports achievement since Jordan's flu game. I can't, it's me. I need to deflect that kind of praise. I'm too humble, but some people are saying, I'm hearing whispers. All right, whatever. I'll stop talking. Let me get into the player development focus. Who should we look at it for? Let's do Jordan Westberg. An Orioles stud who gets overshadowed by the Orioles phenoms. So the new passive player development focus, if you go to a player page and you go to development, you see these sliders, and look at this. You can then dedicate how much time you want the player, in this case Westberg, to dedicate to practicing these things with coaches. So I will say again, go read Will's write-up on it. It's amazing. And I'm going to recap some of what he said and also talk about how I'll handle this aspect of new development. We'll call this the passive development. Let's just call it that for right now. So I don't call it 7 different things. This passive development, I'll talk through how I'm going to handle it. So you have sliders here to shift the focus, right? More or less of different things that the player can focus on. Now in Will's post, he said if you put everything in the middle, that will just handle development like the old coaching influence. Basically, it'll just be default settings. I'm sure you can probably turn this off too, but it'll just be the default settings of how the old coaching system handled development. But this is basically a way, it seems like, for you to tweak development through the coaching. So you have sliders. If you put everything in the middle, it'll be like the old coaching influence. But you can, say you want Jordan Westberg to work on his power more than he is, then you need to take the the time from somewhere else, right? Let's just take gap way down and just put power way up. So now he's going to be spending way more time on dedicated to developing and practicing his power. Now, I think that it is fair to say that Will said that you can improve a player's like potential here, possibly. You know, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I read his post to say, like, you know, if you put power in, more power, it could, you know, it could boost this 45, but it could also possibly boost the 50. Again, somebody can check me on that if I've got that wrong. Please put it in the comments. But that's the way I was reading it. The one thing it can definitely do is try to, like, stave off aging. So if you put more focus on certain things, it'll help with, like, in the same way that a coach can help prevent aging or slow down aging. Guess we can't prevent it. Slow down aging, that could help like prevent his aging of power as he gets older. But if you have too little development on something, too little time focus on something, then that player could lose those skills faster. Now, I don't think that this is going to be a huge noticeable difference in the game. I think it's a really cool, subtle tool, but Will in his post described this tool as subtle and passive himself. I think he said like it may be hard to notice, and he said basically his suggestion was put as much focus on this as you do on getting good coaches, which good coaches are really important. They can really do amazing things for your organization if you have the right coaches in place, but it's also not something, you know, that you necessarily have to have your main focus day to day. So I think the way that I'll handle it is, you know, it's a lot to manage every player. I'm definitely not doing every player in my organization. But I think for prospects, I'll do it in the way that I handle prospects now. I used to handle every prospect in my organization, promotion and demotion. I think what I'll do now, or what I do now is I lock, like, I don't know, my favorite 20 or 30 dudes. Sometimes it balloons to like 50 dudes, and I promote or demote them and let the AI do the rest. For those guys that I'm doing promotion and demotions on, I'll probably do the sliders for them. I don't know. It does feel like a lot of work. And, you know, do wonder if it's like how much bang for the buck there is there versus just letting the AI do it. Like is my time that I'm going to spend doing here worth the payoff of what the AI would do for me by doing these sliders? So I don't know. It's an amazing tool. I'll definitely do it for some guys, but I'm not going to overdo it. I'll do it for certain players, I think. And don't forget, if you do want to control certain guys, lock it there, or I think the AI will jump in and be like, no. We're going to do it differently. So that's kind of, I think, the gist of the new player development system. But let's get into some other stuff after I take a break to cough and drink some tea. All right, back from that brief respite. I've got a cough drop in. Somebody commented on one of my videos from like in the fall when I had this same thing going on. Thanks, children in daycare, I think, or whatever. Thanks for all these head colds. But somebody said that I had a cough drop in and I was clicking around in my teeth. They had headphones in and they couldn't watch it. So I'm going to try not to do that here into the mic. Sorry about that. Next, just wanted to recognize that this game loves the Orioles. Not surprising, since Zips projection, which the ratings and Out of the Park are based off of, has the Orioles projected for like 92 wins and sees them as an incredibly deep organization. But, you know, and I do have scouting turned on here. It's OSA, so this isn't like the actual ratings. But shout out to Kobe Mayo, recognized as a stud with the arm to play third base. Love that. Shout out to Samuel Basayo. Could develop into a stud. Not sure he's going to catch, but I'm not sure he's going to catch in real life. Although if he hits well enough, like they'll just throw him somewhere. Jackson Holiday is just going to be an absolute monster out there. So, you know, when I think about what teams I'm going to be, in my long-term sim or different sims, like, I don't necessarily want to repeat the Orioles again since I just did them like 4 years ago, but they're in a totally different place now. Heston Kjerstad. Totally different place now. Really, his range is way higher than I was expecting. A totally different place now, like I was saying, as I said for the third time. And also, it would just be so much fun because this is my team that I follow and I'm invested in. But I don't know if I'm going to do them. But they're like in the top 5 for sure. Probably the top 3. We'll get into that list another day. But just kind of I just kind of was cruising around through guys here. Let's you know, Mateo. So, I didn't adjust the to show player personality ratings. Whenever I do this, I found it quickly. Sometimes I'm like, I'm clumsy with the settings. Sometimes remember where things in. But yeah, like, man, am I gonna have to trade Jorge Mateo because they did him dirty here and he's outspoken? Is he gonna be disruptive? Hate to do it with a guy with a 65 infield range and 65 outfield range. But I don't know. We're just gonna have some good leaders in there to keep him settled. Real life Jorge Mateo comes through as a not outspoken guy at all. But I don't know. What else you guys want to look at? Talking to you as if this is actually like a live video. It's not. The draft. We could look at the draft. But I did want to also, in case you missed the video last night, just wanted to show you that Shohei Ohtani, I love how they handled his contract since it was so complicated. They just made it the 10 years and the present day value, which is what the luxury tax hit is on his deal for the 10 years, the $46 million. I think that's brilliant. This is what the deal actually is. The people who are like, what, $700 million or what? This is luxury tax avoidance. Like, whatever, man. Like, it's a 10-year, $460 million deal, and they structured the contract legally within the confines of the CBA, so they could afford to pay more players around him while he's here because that's what Ohtani wanted. So that's cool. Anyways, that's my hot take on that situation. I also do want to, so I'm going to turn scouting off for this to get into this. And I want to say that I fully know I'm being that guy by saying this and acting like my favorite team is hated. But we're gonna need a rework here on Kyle Bradish. Like 50 stuff, stuff plus saw him as like a top 5 pitcher last year. So I'm gonna need that stuff turned up a little bit. And then, come on, this guy was like 4th in Cy Young. Gonna need a couple of his better pitchers cranked up. I know I'm being that guy, but I would love to see Kyle Bradish shown some more love here. So that's about my favorite team. I'm sure you guys have things about your favorite team that you'd like to see. But really, I know I'm just joking, just having fun. But that was the one guy when I was looking through different players where I was like, oh, I thought maybe he was going to be rated higher than that. Whereas a lot of the other guys with the O's, I was pleasantly surprised with where they were at. A couple other guys I wanted to check. And actually, let me just turn scouting back on. So if you guys don't like to see, you like the fog of war turned on, just look at a couple other player profiles, though. Like Julio Rodriguez, looks like, unsurprisingly, just a straight-up stud. The Mariners, another team that would be fun to do this with, a sim with. But, I think this looks like a fun player who's probably going to dominate a lot of seasons. There was a post, I think it was on the Reddit, maybe. Somebody basically said that, Wyatt Langford was, I think he hit, 70 home runs in somebody's season. Oh, is he not up here yet? Is he down here? Oh, here he is. So he's not fully developed here yet, but he really developed in somebody's sim, I think, on I think it was Reddit, pretty sure. Sorry, I was just clicking my cough drop, so apologize if you have headphones in. But so we'll be interested to see what people find with Wyatt Langford. Is this his year to be the out of the park god, which I don't think is outside the realm of possibility. Within the next couple of years, he could be an historically great power hitter, have seasons that are historically great. I think that's well within the 0 to 100 percentile, outcome. I think it's a 90th percentile outcome for him, but I think it could happen. Also, keep an eye on Justin. Is it Foscue? Keep an eye on him in your fantasy baseball leagues. He might be their starting first baseman due to injuries. He might be a DH, and all this guy's done in the minor leagues is hit. If you're in a league with me, ignore this. But keep an eye on him. Draft him in your fantasy baseball leagues. So the Rangers, I've simmed through just a couple seasons, one seasons, just to kind of for fun, and the Rangers seems like the game loves the Rangers. They are pretty stacked. Another thing I wanted to check was the Dylan Cease trade added. Wow, they got the Cease trade in. See, I'm gonna need my man Kyle Bradish to be at least a 60 stuff. If Cease is now, I know Cease is a huge stuff guy. It's his claim to fame. But I'm gonna need my man Kyle Bradish to look a little bit more, move him in the direction of Dylan Cease. So I appreciate everybody listening to my whining about Bradish. But I think the Padres are not a team I'm going to play with, but I think they're a team in a really interesting spot that could get messy. And I'll always have a soft spot for Manny Machado, who, according to OSA, has a 70 infield range. By the way, the Orioles start this game without a head scout, so I don't have the ability to look at a head scout because I haven't hired one. But, Manny's also outspoken and low leader. Man, I don't think that's fair, but, whatever. Why is his salary? Did he really have a $13 million? Oh, they brought it down here to, for some luxury tax stuff. Got it. Yeah, that contract is probably going to age badly. But Fernando Tatis, what are his infield ratings like? Okay, he could still play, not shortstop, but he could still play a really good infield for you at third or second. And I don't know if I want him in center, but right or left, yeah, he could play all over. He's going to be, I'm sure he's going to be a monster in this game, as he should be. Great player. Let's see, Jake Cronenworth, did he take a dive yet? No, Cronezone's still looking all right. A couple other teams that I just like to check in on. The Milwaukee Brewers. Christian Yelich, is he still playable? Yeah. According to OSA, Yelich is still playable, which is good. He's been playable. He's been decent to good the last couple of years. You can see here he's not an MVP player anymore, which is disappointing. I'm a big Yelich guy, but he's got a lot of years left. It's not that's a bad deal for Milwaukee because of how they run their budget. But DL Hall penciled in as the number 2 starter. Wow, as a starting pitcher, OSA has his stuff at a 70 out of 75, and his fastball is an 80 out of 80. Man, I think the Brewers just won the trade, according to Out of the Park. What about Joey Ortiz? He was the other guy sent over. Is he not on the team? Maybe he's in the minors. Yeah, here he is. Okay, so he got a 70 range. Yeah, that trade for the Brewers in this game looks like it's going to be a monster win. Real life, long term, yeah, it's going to be a win for the Brewers. This year, great trade for the Orioles. The Orioles, it was a good trade for both teams. Just show you Corbin Burns real quick, my guy. Orioles ace Corbin Burns. He's going to be great in this game. We'll see. One sim I did play through, the Orioles re-signed him to a 4-year, $100 million extension. I don't know that that's Mike Elias's style, regardless of if the ownership changes to commit that money. We'll see. And I also think Burns has already made it clear that he's going to test free agency, which good for him. He's earned that right. So I don't think that's going to happen in real life, a 4-year, $100 million deal. I think obviously Burns is going to go out and seek and likely get a 7 or 8 year deal unless something really strange happens this year. That statement might age really poorly. Who knows? Because so yeah, that's just kind of a tour through the game. Like I mentioned last night that I'm not doing super long videos because I've already had to take a break here to cough once. But I'll keep plugging away and recording some stuff. I'll have some tutorials up. I'll definitely have more on the player development lab. I'll have some fun sims. I may or may not get around to doing a live video or two coming up soon. Not totally sure on that, but we'll have some more stuff up for sure. We'll be active over on the Patreon page too if you want to check that out and support the channel. That's cool. But yeah, I just wanted to say welcome to Out of the Park 25. Happy release day. Thank you to the whole team for putting this game together and putting it out there in the world for us. And thank you guys for watching, and a lot to look forward to, and talk to you all soon.